Hold on. What was that question?
How's life been, man? How you feeling?
It's good. It's good. This morning I got up pretty early. I have like a lot of
I like how you want to publicize this. You're like, no, this is gonna be great for the podcast.
It's not gonna be great, but I don't know. What's the point of having a possibly, I don't know, if it feels disingenuous to have a sad or like a depressing conversation off air like we're on the fucking radio. No, it's all right. I just woke up early. I've had so much stuff that I needed to do. I finally went through, I'm not even done with it, but I finally went through like my iPhone. My phone is full. I need to get a bunch of photos and videos off my phone to make space.
Yeah.
And so I spent the last hour and a half doing that, which means I spent the last hour and a half looking at old photographs of happier times. And so like that's not
a little rough this morning.
Yeah, that's not how I wanted to start my day.
That's fair.
Yeah, but anyway, that was just my melancholy morning, which sounds like the name of a band or album or something.
Yeah.
My melancholy morning jacket. All right. Welcome to Let's Get Trashed, everybody. Let's Get Trashed. I'm Nick from Austin. Your co-host is Steven from, are we saying San Francisco?
You can say San Jose. It's fine.
San Jose, Bay Area.
Bay Area, yeah.
And today we are talking about The King's Man.
Okay. I wasn't sure what we were starting off with. I was
we're doing King's Man first because this one I think we have like more to talk about.
Yeah.
The other one I don't think we'll have a whole bunch to talk about.
I think we will.
We will, but I mean, I don't think we're going to do a deep dive on the other one, and then that's also going to be our movie theater versus at home discussion, which is one we can just cut off any time. But this one I want to get through because for the first time, I have watched one of the King's series, whatever this is called. There's King's Men, there's King's Man.
There's Kingsman Golden Circle.
There's King's Speech. There's Kingsville, South Texas. There's
all part of the same fucking universe, you know?
Yeah. There's King Salmon or King Crab. I don't know. So, yeah, this was my first time seeing a Kingsman movie. So I started with I assume this is a prequel.
Yeah, that's
okay.
Correct. 100%.
Yeah, this is a prequel. It's funny, prequels are funny because why they always try to use the same actor. How much earlier is this prequel than like the main entries in the series?
I think this is what is this, World War One?
Yeah, it's World War One.
Okay, so it's like this is the movies that take place that I'm aware of are like current day.
The fuck? Is Ralph Fiennes not in the current? I thought he was the star of all of them.
Ralph Fiennes. Who's Ralph Fiennes?
Oh my god. The main character. Nope. Don't embarrass yourself as a film podcaster this early in your career, Steven. It's pronounced Rafe. It's Ralph Fiennes.
Well, I'm gonna call him Voldemort because that's what I know him as. So
you know what? Everybody, it's been fun. We're done.
We're
gonna cancel.
We'll just move on to the next movie. We'll just
yeah. No, Ralph Fiennes he's a great actor. Especially back when he used to do real things, he was awesome. I mean, his like third or fourth movie role is as Amon Goethe or Goethe. I think it's Goethe. As like. I mean, one of the many bad guys in Schindler's List.
Yeah.
There's no shortage of bad guys to be found in the movie Schindler's List, but he's a very impactful one that you get to see on screen that one of the best film scenes ever of smoking a cigarette, putting the cigarette down on his windowsill and picking up the sniper rifle and he just shoots I can't remember he shoots a woman in a concentration, like just for fun, his idea of fun. I mean, it's fucking wild, dude. He was yeah, I mean, he's a great actor, and he took on really like challenging roles throughout his career. It's hard to be a villain.
No, it's not.
Well, yeah, not for you. You're a bad dude, but for those of us,
That
for,
are pure
for those
heart,
for those of us that are cool,
villains are the coolest. What do you mean?
for those of us that are sweethearts and just want to be nice, then it's tough.
It's a walk in the park.
Well, think about like another like historical period drama. I don't know how historical, but that famous story of Leo DiCaprio, like flinching on the set of Django Unchained. It's like it's hard to scream the N-word at actors. It's you don't want to do that. That's bad. But the famous story that his co-stars sat him down and was like, dude, you have to lean into it. You're doing a disservice to the movie if you don't play this guy like the worst piece of garbage that's ever been in history. So again, it's a conflict that a lot of actors face when they're doing something really horrible. And so Ralph Fiennes being, Goethe, I wish I knew how to speak literally any other language besides. I don't even barely speak English that well.
Same.
But
the fact that we have a podcast right now.
I know it's the word. We should not have a podcast. I know. I can't wait until we're podcast millionaires in 6 months, and then it's just like everyone's going to be like, why do these guys have a show? How are they so successful? It's because we have the sauce. That's all you need. You don't need to know how to speak anything. You don't even really need to watch that many movies. You just need whatever. You just need the sauce that I have, and I have extra. I have enough for Steve.
Yeah.
No, anyway, he was a really bad guy. But yeah, you're right. He was also Voldemort.
Yeah.
He plays Mallory. He's M in in the previous James Bond franchise.
Okay.
He took over from Dame Judi Dench as M, head of the MI6. So I guess he is kind of, doing. I mean, he was in the Avengers, obviously. So he is kind of becoming just a franchisey type of guy. But he used to be sick. But yeah, he's the star of the Avengers.
The star of the Avengers.
He was the star of the Avengers. You're the Marvel fan. I can't believe you don't even know this.
I do not, and I'm looking up his film. And
the main character in the Avengers is him.
The main character.
The number one dude.
That's Robert Downey Jr., bro.
No. Oh, sorry. You're thinking of the wrong Avengers.
What the fuck? Okay, I was like, what are you talking about? I don't know anything about.
I knew that would get you. So the Avengers was a spy drama. Avengers was a British spy drama from like the 60s. And then in the 90s they made a TV show of it. And anyway, it's one of those spy. He's like a spy with a bowler hat and a cane. He's like a fancy pants kind of spy. I don't know.
I get you.
Something to do with like artwork, I think.
How'd you feel about the film?
So again, for my first time, I went in completely blind. I know nothing about these movies.
Yeah.
I liked it. I did like this movie. Way more than I thought I would. I definitely went in with like low expectations, but I did like it. There's a few things I kind of didn't like, and some things that I generally think are cool, but I don't think they did a great job. So again, this is a I'm going to call it a period piece. It takes place in World War I. And he is an aristocrat of some kind in England. Was he a duke or an earl? He's a something.
Yeah, I think so. The duke.
Okay, he's the duke. Yeah, he's a duke. He's got a son. His wife gets killed first scene. The son has to witness that. And then he spends his life being like overprotective of his son.
Yeah.
The wife's dying words are "Never let him see war again," which is a crazy, unrealistic,
That's not unrealistic. It's totally realistic. He's the Duke of Oxford. He has the money not to send his kid to war or put his kid to war. It's pretty easy.
Yeah, that's not seeing war.
Oh,
what I mean? That's like,
yeah, that's okay. I get your.
But again, that's the impetus of the entire thing is like it's his mission now to prevent war. That's where the film kind of ends up, which I don't want to. We'll talk for a little bit before we get into spoilers. I think we should have a demarcation of spoilers come later, just a little bit. But yeah, it that thing of like never let him even see war, which is like, I don't know, I have to see war. War's going on right now as we're filming. We see it on. I'm seeing it. I'm certainly not seeing it up close and personal. Thank God, but I'm aware that it like exists. So it's just hard to be.
Yeah, I get you. I understand.
Yeah, and then I don't know. One thing that I thought was interesting is they're trying to do. I don't know. I got a reminiscence, or I got reminded of. Do you remember the movie A Knight's Tale?
I do.
With Heath Ledger and Alan Tudyk and whom else? I can't remember who else.
Paul Bettany.
Yes, Paul Bettany. Very good. Yeah.
And then Shane Sossamon. I forget her name, but she's from like that one movie with the dead people, like where they're in purgatory. I forget what it's called.
I don't know.
Oh, and then Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I said Alan Tudyk. Anyway, yeah. So A Knight's Tale. What was that movie? Was like again a period piece, medieval England, but they were using like modern music and kind of modern language. They weren't talking, old timey. They were being kind of contemporary. And then everybody in the stands during the joust, they're doing like "We Will Rock You." It's just these weird anachronisms, but it worked really well in that movie. It was a super stylistic thing, and it was like permeated the movie, which therefore made it make a lot of sense. It was like clearly a style. This movie has just enough of that to make it seem like a mistake almost. Like they're not particularly speaking very modernly until at one point somebody calls somebody else a fuck stick, which is like some sort of dumb Twitter insult, or that's like what Redditors call each other. It's like fuck stick or douche canoe, like just the really lame lame Redditor bullshit that's like just the cheesiest. They're the biggest dorks on earth. So it's just it had some of that kind of weird contemporary language that I thought was cheesy and lame, and stuff like that. So I don't know. It was that took me out of it a little bit, but in general, I liked it. What did you think? As a fan of the series who's watched all of it.
I want to say I'm a fan of the series. I just liked the first one a lot, enough to watch the second one, and the second one was enough to keep me around for the prequel. So I watched it. I not gonna lie, it was a much slower film than I anticipated. It wasn't as like crazy or as fun as the original.
Really?
Yeah, not at all. It was there's some really fun moments, but it was never like as exhilarating as the first one was. And I was kind of disappointed by that. But I still had fun. It was still fun. There were still fun moments. Yeah, I don't know. Like I really like the character as Rasputin. Like I really like his character. He's a very interesting person, and just the way he was his I guess his fighting techniques were really fun, and I enjoyed his character.
Yeah, so at some point they go to fight Rasputin. So let's talk about that. We'll get kind of a plot synopsis. We'll see if we can structure this a little bit more than we have done in other plots. Who knows? Maybe it won't work. This one might feel kind of dead. But there's a war is a brewing in Europe, You know, I feel like we have to say this every 30 years. You know, this goddamn continent can't keep its shit together. But
Yeah.
1910s, it's wars on the horizon. There's a secret cabal of influential behind the scenes ass people who meet on top of a plateau. They meet on top of like a mesa.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah. A mesa in the middle of what would be considered like
yeah, in the middle of
Arizona,
Scotland, or
yeah, it's like
right,
so
exactly.
Weird.
You could almost see like the Roadrunner and the Coyote down
Underneath,
below,
doing activities.
doing activities.
See some anvils falls.
I know. I was like, I don't know much about the geography or topography of where are they? Scotland or Ireland or something like that?
I honestly don't.
They didn't tell us, but the dude
had some maps in the places, but it wasn't. It was pretty. Oh wait, no, it wasn't. Never mind. It was
either way.
It was not very good.
They meet on top of like there's literally one mountain. It's flat, and this is where a secret organization meets, led by a dude we don't know who it is. He's
we are. That's a mystery.
Yeah, that's our mystery of the film. All we know is he's got a Scottish accent. Somehow a Scotsman is bossing around people from all over the world. I don't think that's ever happened. I don't think that, no offense to Scotland, but I don't think they're pulling the strings. Yeah. I don't think they're the puppeteer of world politics anytime ever. So, but anyway, secret organization comprised of people that are from America, from Germany, Rasputin from Russia, everybody that's like they're all highly placed around world leaders.
Oligarchs, they're all placed in positions of, I guess, you consider power,
Yeah.
And they're pulling the strings.
Or they all have influence, they all have access to people with power.
And they're like the real puppet masters, like
right.
They're the ones really dangling the strings. But yeah, that was.
And so Rasputin is, of course, in Russia with the Tsar and his family, Tsar Nicholas, and anyway, all this stuff, and they're the ones that orchestrate the assassination of Franz Ferdinand, Archduke Ferdinand, that kicks off World War One. Yeah. And then this guy is secretly having all of his agents or whatever, manipulate various world leaders into doing what he wants them to do. At some point, Ray Fiennes and his now almost adult kid and his
time has passed. Let's be honest. Some time has developed.
Right. The opening scene, the pre-credits scene is the kid's a boy and he sees his mom die. Everything after that is the same time.
Do you want to get spoilers now?
No. This is not spoilers yet. He's almost an adult. So anyway, at this point, he's desperate to join the army. He just wants to fight in the army.
Yeah.
And then anyway, Dad convinces him, go with me on a mission, and we'll go kill Rasputin in order to stop the Russians from something. In order to stop the Russians from doing something, we'll go kill Rasputin, and then he won't be worm tongue in the ear of the king or whatever. So it's like, hey, all right, that was funny. It's like, congrats, son, you're a spy now. Let's go have sex with Rasputin, because it turns out it's way sexual.
Dude, extremely sexual. And I'm like, it was like, what the fuck? Why does it have to be this weird? But it got weird really quickly. And then I was like, what the fuck?
What was weirder? The son trying to fuck Rasputin, or Rasputin trying to fuck Ray Fiennes and then licking his leg with the bullet hole? And
probably the licking of the bullet hole and then healing him. Really?
That wasn't even work. Him licking the bullet hole from Ray Fiennes' previous injury wasn't as weird as Ray Fiennes sitting there going, oh, like
enjoying it way too much.
Yeah, like, why are you feeling it like this, dude? You just gotta be. If he was like, the fuck, that would have, I guess, made more sense. But everybody, it just went from, it's like mid-assassination plot, Ray Fiennes just starts coming. It's like, what the fuck, dude? Calm down. We have a job to do.
What do they? Oh shit.
So that was again very weird sexual scene, then followed by a fight scene that I thought was kind of cheesy. Maybe I didn't like this movie because again, the stylistic stuff that they think is cool, or that you think is cool. You said you liked his fight moves. You liked him ballet dancing during a fight.
Yeah, that's pretty classic.
I thought that was, I don't know. I thought that was cheesy. I thought that was like, you know what? That's the kind of thing Edgar Wright does now. Like Baby Driver, where like he can't just walk down the street. He has to he has to
That's his way to happiness.
Yeah, he has to tap dance around the street, and every time he opens a door, it coincides with the music. That's like how this whole fight scene was. None of the rest of the movie was like it. Just the Rasputin fight scene. Yeah. So I don't know. Again, a weird element, just like the contemporary dialogue or cursing, and then some of the music and stuff. It's a weird contemporary element. There's not enough of it to be like, oh, that's our thing.
Yeah.
He's got, oh, let me do this for a few minutes.
So this fight scene is similar to one in like the later movies.
Oh, okay.
And like there's in both, I think both of the later movies or earlier movies, there is both like two little dance fight scenes that they're kind of known for. It's really they're fun if you've seen the older one. This one, if you're going in blind, it's like, oh, what the fuck's going on? But I understand that. And, it's just,
yeah, that's another thing. I'm sure there's a bunch of like references that I missed.
Yeah.
As far as stuff that they probably referenced in the original movies, and now this is like showing you exactly what happened. So I'm sure I missed a bunch of that.
Yeah, you're
good. But anyway, yeah, very weird. I will say, here's one thing I did appreciate that I think they did half right, because there's a lot of battle scenes. Yes, it starts off with the opening battle scene wherein the mom dies, and then of course we see a lot of like World War I and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I like that there is blood in this movie.
Yeah,
people get shot and blood comes out, which is more and more rare in movies. People aren't doing blood. There's so much bloodless stuff. Again, I need to come up with something else to reference, because people are not going to like it, but people are not going to like me bringing it up every fucking episode. But Marvel shit, I don't understand how there can be so many fights. The entire half the universe is fucking dying and everybody's at war for 10 years. There's not a single drop of blood in any of those movies ever. Like they're completely, no, there's not. There's completely bloodless. The only time you might see anything is like at the end of a fight, somebody's hair is going to be matted with like a little bit of red blood, but there's nobody gets like their head cut off and blood comes out.
That's true.
They're completely bloodless. This movie at least has some of it, but what I don't like is that it's digital blood, and it looks cheap. So they're getting shot with stuff, and the blood splatter is like this, bright digital thing that comes out, and it just looks bad. I mean, I'm glad that they're trying to do something, but why not go all the way and use squibs?
Yeah, no, that's very true.
Squibs, practical effects, that stuff looks so great on film, on camera.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't look real, I don't know
it still has the, but I think that's because we're the slightly older generation, so we grew up with like that shit being played out and everything, like in the early 90s, that's what everyone used. And those were practical effects that worked for us. And I feel like they worked really well for us, because we it made sense. But now it's like, oh, we don't have time to read. Like, I think it's, who did the Girl in the Dragon Tattoo?
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, so let me look it up real quick.
I've seen the original of those movies, the original
Yeah,
movies that were in Swedish or whatever.
yeah.
I've never seen the Rooney Mara.
Let's see who's the director of this. David Fincher. David Fincher. He only uses digital blood because of the amount of takes he does. And if they had that much blood everywhere, I believe it like reshoots and fucking shit like that are way more difficult.
No, I understand why they do it.
Yeah,
They do it
I
because
get
it's
it.
cheaper and easier. I'm saying
Yeah.
it's worse. You know, and again, they have the money. That's the other thing.
They
Just
have
don't
the
fucking
budget.
tell me. I don't want to hear any film studios pleading poverty. Like, we can't afford digital blood anymore. No, you could if you gave a shit about at all. When we can't afford squibs anymore. So again, that's just a thing. That's just a trend in movies. Again, also part of it is that squibs just look good on film. Again, even if they don't look super realistic, that was such a instrumental part of like filmmaking forever that it's kind of like that should be an expected. It just looks great on film.
Yeah, it does.
For the same reason, I just found this out. That's very interesting. So it's when they first launched the Titanic and the Olympic, they painted the top half. They painted the top half gray, so it was gray and then red underneath.
Okay.
When they first launched those ships back in the early 1900s, the reason they did that, they knew they were going to have to repaint it all white because they wanted it to be white and red, like the Titanic looks like. But they originally painted it gray for launch day because gray shows up better on a black and white photograph than white does.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So that's kind of the same. That's analogous to what I'm trying to say about squibs. Is that even if it's not the real thing in real life, the way it appears on film is just so good,
dramatic and real, and it makes you feel like you're losing someone. Like every single time I've seen that, it's always been like a Tarantino film where like someone's holding someone and they're bleeding out, and you're like, oh fuck, and it makes you feel like you're there, and like
he's the best.
It's good, man. And then
he might be the only dude in town still using a ton of blood.
Yeah.
And
you ever watch? Oh, fuck. Never mind. Go for it.
And practical, all practical stuff. Using actual film. He's not digital yet. And hopefully he never will be. But who knows? Let's see. Another thing about the fight scenes that this was like a hallmark of the series, but I noticed and I kind of didn't like was the POV angle. It goes to like first person down the sword, almost like it's a first person shooter, like like Doom. Doom tried to get that video game thing. So there's a few scenes in Doom, especially at the end, where it's like we're now first person, just like the video game we all
and they're going through. He's just mowing them down. I remember that.
Yeah.
So that's actually something that they do in all the films, and like it's just little things that like film angles that like I like it a lot. I actually enjoy it. Like
so that is like a stylistic callback to
all the films. I think it's really cool. I'm like, dude, I fucking like that they have the gun, like when it goes down the gun and then it just stops, right? I'm like, oh, it looks cool to me. It looks
interesting. So watching this movie, that's another thing. If they had done way more of it, maybe that goes to your point of that it wasn't. I liked the pacing really. I didn't think it needed more action or anything like that. I think that generally makes a movie worse is if it's like drowning in action and there's like no story. I thought the story was actually pretty good and everything in this film. But I understand now that if they have these hallmarks of dance choreography, fight scenes, and the POV camera angles of bullets or down the sword or down the gun,
down the scope,
if that's like a stylistic choice that the filmmakers are using, then you need a bunch of fight scenes in order to like reinforce that. Like this is the thing we do, because I think that sword camera angle literally only happens in the final sword battle. And so I've watched this movie for an hour and 45 minutes, and then in the last 15 I'm like, what are these shots? Where did this come from?
But
again, I'm not a dude that was expecting that. So that's weird. But again, I think that's a symbol of a bad job, because I shouldn't have to have watched or remembered every other movie to enjoy a film as like a standalone as thing.
Yeah.
Especially like the prequel, especially, you know, a self-contained story. Obviously, if you know, the most forgiving thing is like parts 2 of a trilogy. If you go in watching like if you've only
Back
seen
to the Future 2.
Yeah, if you've only seen Back to the Future 2 and you just don't have any context for 1 or whatever comes after it. I mean, obviously 3, but you know, I'm not confused. Sorry, listeners, I'm not confused as to the numbers. What comes after 2? Damn, dude, it's so hard to.
Fuck, man,
it's so hard to be a film critic. Anyway, yeah, that's kind of my point. Is that kind of stuff again took me out of it, because they didn't let me know that that's their shit.
Yeah. That's fair.
All right.
Are we going to spoilers now?
Yeah, let's go into spoilers now. All right.
Yeah, cool.
From here on out, maybe if I get depending on how our first few episodes do, fans, all right, this is on you guys. I might put a thing on the screen being like spoilers. I might do a graphic. But if you don't watch these fucking episodes, if you don't watch episodes 1 through 4 or whatever, we're not doing graphics. Okay. I'm not going to put in work unless you put in the time to watch this shit.
All right,
that's the let's get trashed, scold the audience corner.
Cool.
Yeah, spoilers. Talk about it.
All right, cool. Yeah, so this movie dude, it was kind of like just a long kind of bullshit. Like the guy that we I guess is on the father's side at the beginning is like saying all these things like, hey, you shouldn't let him go. Like he's the one manipulating the whole thing. He's the one in charge of what's going on. He's in charge of Rasputin and Hitler at some. Oh, did you watch the end credits?
No, there's a fucking post credits on this shit.
Yes, there.
Damn it, dude. That was one. That was one in the plus column. Was like, at least this film doesn't have a fucking post credits. I fast forwarded.
Wait, okay. Did you? Okay, there was a. Yeah. Okay, so did you see the interaction with Hitler? Did you see that?
No.
Oh,
I didn't see Hitler in this movie at all.
Okay, well, at the very end, I guess post credit scene. Yeah, post credit. Yeah,
it's post credits.
Yeah, I guess the guy that took over, the guy that was killed, is now like, we need someone better, and they're like, they just see Hitler, and it's just like, oh, he's gonna do it. Like he's the one that carries on this evil, like fucking, like shithole.
So Hitler takes over for our Scottish bad guy.
I think he takes over. Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
That doesn't even make any sense. That doesn't track.
Well, it's something along those lines. I'm not sure. I don't remember exactly what, but I know that Hitler is now the new person in charge, and like they're like, "This is great. We got the guy."
That's so funny to tease Hitler.
Yeah, like we didn't know about it.
Like, yeah, who's watching a World War I movie? Like, I wonder what comes next. Like,
is it World War III? Are we skipping 2? Oh shit!
You know, to walk out of the theater being like, you know, so what happens after this movie? Like, I wonder where they go from here. Thinking about their characters.
Well, to be fair, they could have changed it up. Like, I don't like, you know, Inglourious Basterds, they kill Hitler. You know, like spoilers, guys. I don't know if you know about that either. But yeah, Inglourious Basterds, they kill Hitler in the theater. You know, it's just like it could have been changed up.
In The Kingsman Part 1, did they mention that they killed Hitler? Like, again, this is a prequel, so I don't know if we're gonna have I don't know if maybe. So is there going to be, since you said that Kingsman was a modern day?
Yeah.
Because so that's the other thing about this. Like I mentioned earlier, we get to our ending being like, in order to, I'm going to prevent war, I got to create a secret spy organization that this is kind of nonsensical. This weird, this idiotic way of like how they framed all this. So this is another storytelling thing that's poorly done. But they meet at the tailor shop.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to create a spy organization that is a super secret, not connected with the government. This is like extrajudicial, not part of the government. super secret. Nobody in the government knows. King George, thanks for being here. Like, if you're gonna do that,
great guy, thanks for showing up, man.
yeah, the whole point of it is like, it's like MI6 are the king's bureaucrats and the king's spy network that exists as part of our military,
budget
complex. He's like, they can't get it done for some reason. I don't know why they think they can't get it done. We haven't seen them try and fail. So the idea is just like, he's the only one that can do it. Instead of just making him in charge of the existing spy network. Because again, he has this friendship with the king. The king's not like, why don't I just put you in charge of the spies? He's like, come to my meeting, king, and then we'll talk, and I'll show you my idea. And then the king shows up, and he's like, we're all part of this organization now. And the king's like, yeah, sure, dude, sign me up. I want to be in. Like, I'm game. I'm so glad nobody ever includes me now that I'm king. But again, if the king is part of it, then you're not extrajudicial. You're not outside of the government. The king's there.
Yeah, you're part of society at that point.
Yeah, at that point, you have king accountability. If he's in it, to someone. The whole thing is, if you're trying to be, I don't know. So that just doesn't even make sense. Which makes me think that the actual mainline entries in this series don't make sense.
Oh.
And then let's talk about what I did really like.
You like the son dying?
I did.
The son dying? I didn't like that actor, man. I was like, I'm glad he's gone. Yeah.
Oh.
I like the kid.
I don't know what his name was, but I liked him. I thought he did a fine job. He's a kid. He was good at being like a petulant kid. Yeah. It didn't quite. Again, another part of it that just doesn't make sense, like motivation. And then, as you listen to these episodes, if anybody's listening, you're gonna hear me harp on one thing is like character motivation. That's the main thing. I fully accept the premise that I accept that we are in this world where there's a secret cabal of masterminds and double agents that are plotting for world destruction. I understand that they have like more technology than they kind of should have in 1915 or whatever. I'm fine with all that. The characters still have to be human and still have to ring true. Yeah. This kid, all he wants to do is like, he wants to make a difference. He wants to be involved. He wants to save the world. He's young. That's a very common motivation for a young character, and it's totally fine. I buy it. I got no problem with it. He begs his dad to let him in on the game. Dad's like, all right. Ralph Fiennes is like, all right, I'll let you in on the secret. I created a spy network. A very cleverly, a clever conceit of a spy network is that we're only working with servants and stuff. Everybody has servants and maids and butlers. That's who we're going to deputize and use in our network. I don't know what they're offering them in exchange.
Probably good pay.
Maybe.
Probably. Yeah. 2 bonds.
World War II bonds. I would be, if it's 1917 and you're offering me World War II bonds, I'm shocked. I'm like, what? Please don't tell me. Yeah.
We're going to war?
What do you know, dude?
That's how sure he was. He's like, we're gonna make this World War II happen, and we're gonna pay you well with it. And they're like, all right, let's see what happens.
Anyway, but that's a clever idea. I mean, the idea of reaching out to like the servant class and the butlers and stuff, which is again a perfect contrast to the villains.
Yeah,
because the villains are all aristocrats and people that are high in government power.
Yep.
But we see being the good, proletariats that we are. We see that the actual people getting it done, the people who win in the end, are the underclass. Yeah,
underclass.
The servants and the butlers. That's who's the real. You might have Rasputin, and you might have that German guy that played Zoller in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh shit, bro.
Yeah, he was Frederick Zoller from Inglourious Basterds. He's good. He's good in everything. You might have those guys, but we have some dude that we have the dude that gets Diet Coke for Donald Trump in the White House. Like we have that guy on our team, and that's gonna
that's gonna win the war.
Yeah, that's who's more important than German aristocracy or whatever. Again, that's a clever thing. The son gets involved. They get to go on their first mission, which is seduce and kill Rasputin.
Yeah.
By poisoning him with a Bakewell tart. Shout out to my Great British Bake Off fans. You know, you'll recognize two. Shout out to the Bakewell tart, and shout out to my girl, the Victoria sponge. Two British staples of baking that appear in this film.
Nice. I'm glad you know both.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Did you write that down, or you just like
no?
You're that heavily invested in dessert.
That was the most. Yeah, that was the thing that
was the most accurate thing in this film.
That's the detail I enjoyed the most. If you know, if we get tired of talking about movies, this is going to become a Great British Baking Show podcast.
Dude, actually, that might be more fun because I really like that show.
Dude, you do? It's awesome. It's like it's so good. It's one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, dude, I love watching.
Everybody's.
Oh shit, what's going down this week?
So good. I love it. Everybody's so nice.
Yeah,
they're so polite nice to each other. They're like really
Hollywood.
Good.
Paul Hollywood.
Yeah, Paul Hollywood. They've got good camaraderie. There's very little. There's more and more now, which sucks. But early on, there was no like fake American drama.
Yeah,
because every American. That's why what's his name? That British. That's why fucking Gordon Ramsay had to move to America, because it's like he's like. He can't be in England shouting at people. I'm like, dude, that doesn't work over here. We're not going to fall for this. Like, we're not going to fall for this cheap bullshit. Go to America where they're dumb enough to think that you're actually mad at them. You know. So, but that's why the British baking show is great, because it's just like, I don't know, everybody's just trying to cook some shit. I don't know. It's great.
And the camaraderie, everything's so nice. And everyone's like, oh, let me help you. It's like, dude, that would never happen here.
And it's the same music. They're not doing.
They're not changing it up.
They're not changing the score. They're not doing extra dun dun duns every fucking time somebody like drops a teaspoon or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
just very melodies, and then it's like a cake will fall, and I'm like, oh no. And then everyone's like, let me help you fix that. You know,
they have 3 happy melodies, and then they have like 2 like tense melodies that they play like time's running out. Dun 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 dun.
Or like
they have whatever they are. They've got 2 of those.
Rushing somewhere. Yeah.
But it's nothing. It's not crazy. It's just a little bit tense.
I love all you need. You watch this. I didn't know you watched.
I've watched every fucking episode.
Yeah, same man. Yeah. I watch the Christmas specials too, and they have like the recurring. I'm like, fucking love that shit. It's only like 3 episodes, but I'm like, I'm in this.
Yeah, hilarious. Yeah, dude, fans. Yeah, this is gonna be a Great British Baking Show podcast.
So
let's get
baked.
Let's get binned. Instead of let's get trashed, let's get binned. That's what they say over there.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the King's Man. So anyway, the son finally gets his wish.
Yeah.
He finally is like, I get to be part of the action. I'm going with Dad to Russia, and we're going to kill Rasputin together. Yeah. And they do it. They're successful.
Yeah.
And then on the way back, he's like, it's my birthday. I'm old enough to join the army now, and I don't need you. I'm going to join the army.
Yeah.
And everyone's just like, he's like, I don't care if you're not going to let me, I'm going to go. And at no point does Ralph Fiennes be like, how about you just hang out and we'll do more missions? Like,
this could be so much more fun with you involved.
Yeah. Well, he's like, you are, he could have been like, you could be more impactful as a spy. Yeah. And the kid's like, I want to go to the front. And he's like, don't go to the front lines. That's
where you get slaughtered.
It's World War I, dude. You're gonna die. Everybody in the front lines died in World War I. He's like, just don't do that. Just hang out here like, I'll put you in more spy shit. I'll teach you how to do the spy thing. Yeah. We'll, and then you can be
Rasputin together.
You can be super, You can be super impactful, and he
can
could
make a
have
difference. Yeah, even, but I guess what he does do in war is kind of, doesn't he get information about what's going on and he's able to
yes, accidentally.
yeah.
Which again is
being a hero.
That's fine. That's part of movie magic, is people being in situations that make them more interesting or impactful than obviously would make sense in real life. But it's just Ray Fiennes doesn't even try to explain to this kid. It's just a foregone conclusion that there's nothing he can do.
Yeah,
and which again is like, I'm looking around like nobody's going to say you just committed an assassination. Like you just, you don't have to feel like you haven't done anything. You just did something big, and now we can. I don't know. He also stops the first Archduke Ferdinand assassination.
Yeah, he does. He
crushes it. He uses his umbrella. He kicks the bomb away, and it's like, dude, this kid rules.
Yeah.
I thought we were gonna see like more of him. I also did not expect him to die.
Yeah, same. I didn't expect that either.
Really?
Yeah, I did not expect him to die.
Okay, I figured that was a thing that was like a common. I thought that was commonly mentioned in the. I'm watching this thing like imagining that the original films are Ray Fiennes talking about why he does. I started this organization because my son died, and I'm trying to do whatever. That's what I assumed, and I figured this is us finally. This is the fans finally getting to see what happened to the son that they've heard so much about. But you're saying that's not the case.
Yeah, not really, because I was expecting the kid to live, and honestly, I wasn't expecting. I was like, how's this next generation going to be? I thought this kid was going to lead it, kind of. That was not the case. The father kind of just takes over and is like, that's his thing, But yeah, I wasn't expecting that. But that was I didn't dig him, so I was like, I didn't. It wasn't a big deal for me, but I did was like, oh shit, I did not expect him to die at all, and the fact that he did, and then it carried on. I was like, oh, well, where are we going with this now? And then it worked kind of.
It was good, and I also like that his death was
heroic, noble.
Well, his death wasn't heroic. His final deed was heroic.
Oh yeah.
But his death was tragic. He gets killed at the height of his victory.
Yeah.
By friendly fire.
At his peak. Yeah.
It's a bad death. So that's actually a really good thing about it, is that it's not he doesn't get some cheesy like heroic death.
Yeah.
He gets killed by a dude that's confused.
Yeah.
And he doesn't get a chance to explain, and it's also partially due to his own actions. If he hadn't,
that's fucking fucked up.
That's if he hadn't done what he did to like trade places with another soldier.
Yeah.
Then we would have never.
He would never died.
Then he wouldn't have been in that position.
Yeah.
To be helpful, but he also wouldn't have gotten killed for being accused of being a spy when he's clearly not the guy he's impersonating.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was good. I did like another thing I did like about it. Again, I'm more than willing to accept that this is the universe. At the very beginning of the movie, near the beginning of the movie, we have the son, and then the what was the butler's name or the driver's name?
Oh fuck, let me see. I believe it was
Shola.
Shola, yeah, that's correct.
So we have Conrad is the son. We have Conrad and Shola, and they're knife fighting each other.
Yeah.
They're practicing with knives, which we might bring up, but similar to Dune. Dune had a knife fight between the aristocrat's son and one of his somebody on his staff, one of his mentors. So that was good. So that sets up that he's got some knife skills as a young man.
Yeah.
That sets up the knife battle in the middle of World War I.
Yeah.
Which you would think doesn't make sense, but they did. That's all I ask is they did just enough to justify it.
Yeah.
So In between enemy lines, a spy goes down with crucial information. Conrad, Ray finds his son, and a few other guys volunteer or get voluntold, as we say in the army. We, as they say in the army, some of the guys get voluntold. Yeah, as a podcast veteran. No, as you know, Conrad volunteers and some other guys are forced to go, and they go to retrieve this. They retrieve this information that's in the middle, halfway, equidistant between the British lines and the German lines.
Yeah.
As they're out there, middle of the night, sneaking around, being sneaky, they come across a German group. Fortunately, the exact number of people. It's 7 on 7.
7 on 7, man.
7 on 7, like a spring football game. And then
Easter Sunday.
They run into each other.
Hey,
they run into each other in the middle of the battlefield.
They don't use guns. They don't use guns
because this is how we get our knife fight. Yeah. How is it?
Clever. It's clever.
Yeah.
I like it. The fact that they can't use guns, because if they use guns, they will get blown to fucking smithereens by every fucking force around them. I think that was fucking sick. The actual knife fights I thought that was fun. I enjoyed that a lot more than I thought. Okay, to be fair, I enjoyed that more than I did the Rasputin fight. Just because it was like, hey, we gotta shut the fuck up. We both parties knows what's at stake. If any noises are made, if a gun goes off, we're fucked. And that's what happens.
Yeah.
Shit goes down quick. And he uses everyone immediately. Like, there's only one other guy, and he's just like, I'll hold him off. Get the fuck out of here. And he just runs away. But it was like fucking crazy. Like, just seeing that, and then just seeing all the fucking bullets coming around and just destroying his family or his friends, I guess, or his allies. Like, that was fucking rough, dude. But it was a sick scene to see.
It was a good, I mean, obviously it was a fun fight scene to watch. And again, on the surface, it's like, why, if you just think about it, you're like, why are they knife fighting on a fucking World War I battlefield? But they give us that little justification of this is why.
Yeah.
That's all I want. It's just justify it to me a little bit, and I will go with it in any film.
It also made a lot of sense too, man. That's why I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I don't know how much sense it made. I don't know if has that ever happened?
I think so. I feel like that's probably like a factual thing, man.
Okay, maybe.
In war, like where you're just like, oh fuck.
If it is more, all the more power to it.
I don't know if it was a fair fight, like 7 on 7. I don't know if those numbers were thought out beforehand.
Right.
And they were like, hey, we got 7, you got 7, cool, let's do this.
But just the concept of we can't use guns because the people around us don't know whether we're good guys or bad guys, and they'll just start shooting at this area if they hear gunfire from this area. I like that. I don't know if that's ever happened in real life, but who knows? Maybe it did. It's believable. It's believable enough.
Yeah, then I'll take it for
yeah, and then of course we find ourselves at the end of the movie. The whole thing was predicated on the XYZ affair, which if you're not a history buff, you might forget that there was a time when Germany thought it prudent to reach out to Mexico and have Mexico attack the United States before the United States was in World War I. The United States was not going to go to war in World War I. And Germany was like, we need to convince Mexico to sneak attack the U.S. And that'll keep them busy, and then they won't come over here and fight. And then, our government finds out about it. Mexico doesn't sneak attack.
Yeah.
But our government finds out about it, and then they entered World War I because that was an act of aggression from Germany.
Yeah.
I wonder, what would the world be like if Mexico had fucking sucker punched the United States in 1917? You know what I mean?
How the course of history would change. I think Mexico would be way worse off.
Or who knows? That's the other thing. This is early enough where if America had won that war, it's only 60 years after the Spanish-American War. We won that war. We took all that land. We're 60 years later. If they start another one, Texas might go down to fucking Mexico City. Like, Tenochtitlan might be a fucking Texas city if that's the case. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah.
We might have just taken it all, assuming we win.
Yeah.
So who knows? That would have been wild. But it's also, Mexico got our eye on you. All right. It's only been 105 years. Don't think we don't remember what y'all almost did to us.
So stupid. Oh God.
No,
man.
I have no idea if they would. Does anybody historically know? I'm sure somebody knows. Somebody who's not the dumbest two guys on earth probably knows. But does anybody? I wonder what when Mexico got that telegram, that correspondence from Germany.
Yeah.
What did they say? Was there anybody in Mexico being like, yeah, probably we could fuck with Germany like this? Or did I would imagine they would get that and be like, who the fuck sent us this? Why would you think we would do
Germany?
that?
What's Germany?
Yeah. It legitimately might be a thing where they're like, there's no way we're doing this. This is I can't believe you even asked. It'd be like me sending a DM to like George Clooney's wife, being like, you want to hook up? Like she would be like, why would you even present this to me? Like,
oh man. Yeah. I want to rate this movie. I want to rate this like a 5 out of 10.
You give it a 5. Okay.
5 out of 10. Yeah.
It was a 5.
Yeah. I don't think it was up to par to anything of the newer films. And
you mean the older films?
The older films, I guess.
That are the sequels
set
or
at
whatever.
Current day. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess it's a 5 just because I didn't love it. I enjoyed some moments, but overall I was not impressed. It kind of left me bored a little bit.
Okay.
But, yeah.
I've got to see. So again, my way, Steve, as those of our longtime listeners know, Steve gives it a number ranking out of 10. I generally say whether I would recommend it or not. And I think about what that means is like, am I going out? Am I going to go and talk to somebody and am I going to bring this movie up and be like, you need to watch it? Probably not. But if somebody asks me, was it good? Should I watch it? I'll probably say yes, but I'm not proselytizing it, but I would recommend this movie. I think it was pretty good. Yeah, I would recommend it to somebody. And then just couple before we'll wrap it up in a minute. We could do Rotten Tomatoes has it a 42 as the critic score and 80 as the audience score. So audiences were on board with it. Critics didn't like it that much. IMDb's got a 6.4. Letterboxd has a 2.9
out of 5.
Yeah, out of 5, which is what. So when we rank it on our official Let's Get Trashed Letterboxd account, the ranking will be 2.5. I think you can do a half star because that's Steve doing 5 out of 10.
Yeah.
2.5 out of 5 is the same thing. But yeah, just 2 more things before we wrap this one up. They have a lot of the why did the evil collective, they all had rings that we get, they get rings. That's part of their that's a big scene in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Is everybody get your ring, and this signifies you're part of my evil organization that I'm in charge of.
Yeah.
Later, the way Ray Fiennes just finds out about this organization is they all also have scarves that are like the purest cashmere from this one mountain in Scotland. And that's the funny thing is like they set up the rings as being this thing that like, this is our indicator. This is how, and that's going to be important later on in the movie. And it's fucking not important. The scarf, which you don't even know about until halfway through, it turns out they have rings and scarves. Like they should have picked just one of those things to be our
symbolic. Yeah. Our symbol.
Yeah. To connect him, like, oh, so-and-so had the exact same scarf. So-and-so that is what they did. But they set it up at the beginning as so-and-so has the exact same ring. So that was just a weird.
Yeah, there's some things that were
inconsistent choice that wasn't thought out by the storytellers.
Yeah.
And then anyway, the other thing that made me laugh is at the very end of the movie, very end. So now the whole thing is to get us to the point where Ray Fiennes is setting up the Kingsman organization.
Yeah.
And what he said, he's like, we're going to create this spy network so we can stop war from ever happening again. And we're going to preserve peace because we never want to see war ever again. And I just want to say hats off to you, sir. You did a great job. Congrats. 1923, you start this organization. I just want to say you crushed it with the no war thing. It certainly didn't happen 15 years later. It certainly didn't happen 10 years after that, 8 years after that, for 30 straight years between you and Russia. It certainly didn't happen in the 90s. It certainly didn't happen in the 2000s twice. It certainly isn't going on right now. So well done. Hats off to Ray Fiennes for
saving the world.
Yeah, for like Morty says from that one Rick and Morty episode where they're fighting the president. He's like, "Oh yeah, we're drowning in peace." The president's like, "Peace summits are important." He's like, "Oh yeah, we're drowning in peace." I was like, that popped into my head. It was like, yeah, great job, Ray Fiennes. You're doing so good with all the peace that we have.
Yeah.
Anyway,
real tight. Yeah.
Thanks everybody for checking us out again. I'm Nick. That's Steve. You can find me on Instagram at Nick Tazo Drums. Steve at Step on Hen for his art content. Follow our YouTube page, like and subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what movie you want us to talk about next. Also, let us know if we're dumb and if you don't like the things we say about these movies. If we don't like a movie you like, tell us.
Yeah, give us an explanation why.
We want to know
what your rebuttal is.
We want to know
why. I want to hear it.
Yeah.
And then explain why Marvel movies are the best movies on earth. And then tell Nick that he sucks ass.
It's please. Explain it to us. Explain it to me. I could probably be convinced. You know what? If you like and subscribe hard enough, I could probably be convinced to say good things about Marvel movies going forward. So don't give up, Marvel fans. All right, definitely don't stop watching because I'm a lost cause. If you hang in there and if you tell all your friends about this show, you can get me. So don't give up. Yeah. You can bring me back. You can bring me back to the light side of the Force, another fucking franchise I'm not going to watch anymore of. So anyway, do all that. Let's get trashed pod on Instagram. Let's get trashed on Letterboxd. And we will see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, peace.